1450 WOL AM, where information is power.
This report sponsored by Compassion International. Beltway, inner loop at Pennsylvania Avenue, roadwork blocking the right lane. It is stop and go coming over from Ritchie Marlborough Road. Outer loop below speed through Landover, heading past Route 202 over to the exit at Route 50. Now into D.C. and onto Kenilworth Avenue. That's jammed northbound from Pennsylvania Avenue. That continues into a work site before getting to Eastern Avenue. Southbound on the brakes before Benning Road to East Capitol Street. New York Avenue quite slow coming out of the 3rd Street Tunnel, and that continues over to Florida Avenue. Weather, it is going to be sunny today. Temperatures will be into the upper 40s. Clear skies overnight tonight. Lows will be near freezing. Families in poverty are facing a global food crisis. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646. I'm Dan Alpha for News Talk 1450 AM WOL, where information is power.
All right. Welcome back to Igniting Change. We're so excited that you decided to join us here on Igniting Change on iconic WOL Radio here in the DMV, but we're all over the country, and we're talking about change all over the country, folks. We're so excited to have with us two guests right now, and we're deep in the discussion talking about the private right of action for citizens to be able to sue for violations of their voting rights under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act in the United States. That's being challenged in 3 jurisdictions, but most recently and most significantly right now in the 8th Circuit Court in the state of Arkansas and the states that are surrounding Arkansas. But we have with us Dr. Quintessa Hathaway, who certainly is one of the political activists out of the state of Arkansas, has run for office in the state of Arkansas, and is all over this issue. We also have with us Carl Snowden, who is the Caucus of African American Leaders convener, as well as he was with the Civil Rights Office of the Maryland Attorney General's office. He also was a former elected official out of the city of Annapolis. And as we were going into break, Dr. Hathaway was sharing with us a lot of the challenges of what's happening in the state of Arkansas with regards to black and brown elected officials being able to obtain office, to have a fair shake, really, at being elected to office. And, before I turn back to Dr. Hathaway, Carl, I wanted to ask you, because when we're dealing with this Section 2 stuff that you've heard us talking about and the possibility of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act that we're talking about and the 8th Circuit, what we're talking about there, if the 8th Circuit has its way, is that only the Attorney General of the United States would be able to bring lawsuits for violations of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And so you were just sharing with us, the victory in Federalsburg that was bought by a private organization, a voting rights organization, the ACLU, bringing forth a case that's now been filed by, I think, the ACLU with the Comico County in dealing with their voter dilution of black voters there. We also heard a little earlier from a group called Above the Clouds, which is a 501c3 that's working for at-risk and kids that are in bad areas that are dependent upon funds that come from people and from government. Carl, I've got to ask you, what's the potential impact of this 8th Circuit decision if it carries the weight of the day and only the Attorney General's office can make those decisions about voting rights violations?
Daryl, all we have to do is look at history, and if history proves anything, if we had to depend on the Justice Department to bring these voting rights lawsuits, as you pointed out, and Barbara, we'd be in serious, serious trouble. The fact of the matter is that what is going on is a struggle for power. As African Americans begin to assert their political power, there is this right-wing reaction to it. It's not unexpected, by the way. This is not the first time in American history that this happened. But one of the things I wanted to point out so that listeners will understand is the importance of African Americans being in positions of political power. They are able to have things happen that normally would not happen. And I want to take this hat off to you, Daryl. You were a former county council member on the Anne Arundel County Council in Maryland. It was you who put in a resolution based on the death of Nelson Mandela, who died in December of 2005, I believe. It was you who put in this resolution that called on the nation, and particularly Anne Arundel County citizens, to honor him. Can you imagine anybody else being able to do that, anybody in Anne Arundel County who would have had the audacity, the nerve to honor Nelson Mandela. And remember, Nelson Mandela was a part of a movement worldwide that was trying to allow Africans in South Africa the right to vote. It's one struggle. All around the world, we see democracy being threatened. So I think this decision that was handed down is important, and we must respond collectively to it.
Absolutely. And we want everyone to be aware that yesterday, Monday, the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, and on behalf of the NAACP and the Public Policy Forum, all filed a petition for reconsideration by the full court in the Eighth Circuit. Understand that original decision was before a 3-judge panel of an appeal from a lower court decision that had said that there was no private right of action. The first time, folks, by the way, that such a finding has ever been entered by any court in 60 years of litigation. 60 years. And suddenly this one judge decides that he's got all this wisdom, and it goes up to the Eighth Circuit. It's a 3-judge panel. Only two of them, decide that somehow they're wiser than the Supreme Court. They're wiser than all the other circuit courts that have upheld the private right of action, that they're smarter than panels before them and the Roger. So, we got some noise, folks. Be careful in your background. And so this case has never been heard by the full judges of the Eighth Circuit. Even though this is a very conservative circuit, we still should win this case because the legal opinion, quote, legal opinion, is so horribly written. It's hard for me to call it a legal opinion, but this opinion that came out of these two judges in the Eighth Circuit. So they filed this motion yesterday, saying that there should be reconsideration. But let's be clear, folks, regardless of what they do, this case is headed to the Supreme Court. It's a setup by Gorsuch and Thomas, Justices Gorsuch and Thomas, because they want to try to take away our rights. So, Dr. Hathaway, as we close this segment, can you please tell people what you want them to do right now throughout this country, and can you tell people how they can get in touch with you?
Yes. I cannot emphasize enough that Arkansas is in a state of emergency. The very conservative judges in the Eighth Circuit are present-day Joseph Taney's. It is that critical. They are trying to turn back not just 60 years of said law, but 150 years of said law. We've got to continue to sound the alarm for people of color, of every creed and nationality that reside in the 2nd Congressional District, that reside in the state of Arkansas. We are going to have to get activated and bring full pressure to the point that it's a term that I have coined called the Second Civil Rights Movement. It's sweeping across the nation at the exact same time that we are being challenged on every front in our institutions. The best way for anyone to contact me directly, I am on Twitter as well as Instagram at DRQ Hathaway. Also, because I recently ran as the Democratic nominee for the 2nd Congressional District, you can find me on Facebook at the @ elect DRQ Hathaway. It's also easier to catch me on the telephone. I'm that kind of open person. But catch me quicker on the telephone at 615-473-3213. I need everyone that's ready to get down on the ground, to do the grassroots work, to be about the business of bringing about serious, substantial change, not just in the state of Arkansas, but the work is everywhere all the time. Just one more quick plug because I know we're running short on time, but I'm also working on an initiative right now, a recall of Cameron Sexton in my home state of Tennessee. Tennessee is a political hotbed right now,
right.
and we
We'll
know
talk
everything.
about that in
Go
another
ahead.
show. We'll pick that up in another show. But let's get to Carl now with the same questions, Mr. Snowden. Same questions.
Well, Barbara, I think you and Daryl, again, I just want to take this moment to commend you. I think you guys are doing exactly what needs to be done. And Dr. Hathaway, thank you for your work. It takes all of us working together to be able to bring the change that needs to be done. For those who are interested in the state of Maryland who would like to join the Caucus of African American Leaders, a good contact number is 443-871-5656, 443-871-5656. And again, Barbara, I just want to thank you and Daryl because the energy that you put out, the vision that you have, the zeal that you have for justice is something that's greatly needed in this country. And I just want to take these moments just to say again, thank you.
Thank you.
So
and Daryl?
Thank you so much for that, Carl. Go ahead, Barbara.
Yes, and Daryl, we want people to know that we're not just talking trash. We are organizing. We're having meetings with people. And if you're in the state of Texas, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, or Utah, you need to be in contact with us. Go to tjcoalition.org and be in touch with us because we are organizing. We're not going to let these 14 states try to deny all of our rights to the enforcement of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Daryl.
You're absolutely right, Barbara. TJC is on the move. We see the problem. Once we see it, we're going to set our aims on it, and we're going after it. Look out, Arkansas. We're going to be on the ground there. We're coming there as soon as we find out when they're going to be hearing that en banc case in the state of Arkansas. We'll be there. We'll be there, Carl, with you in Maryland through that fight. Folks, go to tjcoalition.org to keep up with us because we have young folks that we're training right now. We have folks that are going to be training in April in Phoenix. tjcoalition.org. Find out where we're training, find out what we're doing, get involved, get active, get off the sidewalks, get in the streets. Let's cause some good trouble, and let's get results that will make this a multiracial, multi-inclusive society that all of our rights are properly protected. And until next Tuesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, we'll see you then. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
News Talk 1450 WOL-AM, where information is power.
I'm Tiffany Haddish.
And I'm Marlon Wayans. African Americans are 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer than any other racial or ethnic group.
When you or someone you love is facing a pancreatic cancer diagnosis, access to cutting-edge treatment can help make long-term survival possible and improve future patient outcomes.
That's why Stand Up to Cancer and the Lust Garden Foundation have teamed up to bring over 30 pancreatic cancer clinical trials to those who need them.
Learning all you can about pancreatic cancer, including treatment options and what clinical trials are available, can give you or a loved one even more than hope. It can help make long-term survival possible.
For more information about the latest pancreatic cancer research and clinical trials near you, visit pancreaticcancercollective.org.
What if an art collection gave you a fresh new way to see yourself and the world? Discover the Barns of Philadelphia. On the walls of the Barns, artists such as Renoir and Picasso share space with stunning African mass and Native American jewelry in ensembles that invite the viewer to draw their own connections across artistic traditions and time in a singular immersive experience. From tours and classes to family programs and art after hours with cocktails and performances, there's something for everyone. The Barns. See art differently. Tickets at barnesfoundation.org.
WOL Washington, D.C. W240DJ Washington. 95.9 WMMJ HD3 Bethesda. WKYS HD3 Washington. WPRS HD3 Waldorf and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.